I used to think a failing heart would feel like a dramatic collapse, sirens, panic, the whole world spinning into chaos. But the truth is quieter, more sinister. It starts like a whisper beneath your ribs, a flicker, a warning light you can't turn off, and at 28, mine was burning out like an old street lamp no one bothered to replace. The night everything changed, I pressed my palm to my chest, feeling that uneven thud, like my heart kept forgetting what its job was. My phone rang. That why mother's voice came through, sugar-coated but sharp enough to cut. "Lena, sweetheart, about the fall dinner this year, keep things simple, okay? Your cousin Alicia is announcing her engagement. Very important people coming. Her fiancé's father is on the hospital board with Dr. Patel." I stared at the half-filled pill organizer on my table. Beta blockers. Diuretics. Rhythm stabilizers. The only thing standing between me and cardiac arrest. "I'll be there," I said. "Good. And, maybe don't bring up your medical situation tonight? You know how you get. Everything turns dramatic." Dramatic, that was their favorite word. As if a heart functioning at 22% capacity was just me trying to steal attention. Mom continued, "Your Aunt Mira says most of what you're worried about is probably anxiety. She sees real emergencies every day." Aunt Mira, family hero, ER veteran, the medical authority who dismissed everything she didn't personally diagnose. Last year she'd told me I looked perfectly fine, and should stop scaring everyone. I didn't argue. I'd stopped arguing months ago. There's only so many times you can say, "I'm dying," before the people you love decide it's just a phase. When Thanksgiving weekend arrived, my mother's house glowed with warm lights and the smell of roasted herbs, like nothing bad could ever happen within those walls. I swallowed my afternoon meds in the car and waited for the tremors of fatigue to settle. Alicia met me at the door, sparkling with excitement and expensive jewelry. "You made it. Come meet Armin's parents, they're dying to meet the family." Dying, funny choice of words. The living room was buzzing. Aunts bragging about promotions. Uncles comparing new cars. Cousins flaunting vacations. And in the center of it all, on her invisible throne, sat Aunt Mira. "Lena," she called. "How's that heart thing going?" People turned. Conversation stalled. "I'm managing," I said. Mira smiled like a politician. "Good. You know, I looked over your chart again last week. Everything's stable. All this talk of transplants and surgeries, completely premature. You're nowhere near critical." I felt the heat crawl up my neck. My chart, again, without permission. Her audience nodded approvingly. Why wouldn't they? She was Dr. Mira Shiva, almighty gatekeeper of medical truth. And if she said I was exaggerating, then I must be. Before I could respond, a new voice cut through the room like someone had sliced the air open. "Interesting," the woman said. "I'd love to hear more about her case. I specialize in cardiac failure." I turned. A woman in her 50s stood by the fireplace, composed, sharp-eyed. She wore a simple dress with a small pin on her collar. "My apologies," Alicia said quickly. "Lena, this is Dr. Helena Voss, Armin's godmother. She flew in from Johns Hopkins." My stomach dropped. Dr. Voss, director of heart failure and transplant medicine. I'd read her research papers at 3 a.m. when fear kept me awake. She looked at me gently. "Your aunt says you're dealing with a heart condition?" Before I could answer, Mira stepped in. "Nothing serious," she said with a dismissive wave. "Just dilated cardiomyopathy, managed with meds. Lena has a habit of catastrophizing." Dr. Voss didn't blink. "And you've reviewed her case personally?" "I have access to her records at Metro," Mira said proudly. Professional courtesy. The room went silent without a signed release. Dr. Voss asked. Mira shifted, just slightly. "I'm family," she said. "It's allowed." "No," Dr. Voss replied calmly, "it isn't." A cold ripple went through the room. "Lena," she said, turning to me softly. "What's your ejection fraction right now?" I inhaled shakily. 22%. Down from 31. Whispers erupted around us. "And you're on the transplant list?" "Status 2, I said quietly. 6 months now." Dr. Voss nodded slowly, then turned to the room. a 22% ejection fraction in someone her age is severe heart failure. Without a transplant, her 5-year survival rate is around 50%. Her situation is not optional. It's life-threatening. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Alicia's fiancé looked horrified. Even the uncles who mocked medical drama fell silent. Mira tried again. With all due respect, Dr. Voss cut her sharply. You work in emergency stabilization, not transplant medicine. You are not qualified to minimize a case like this. She paused, and accessing a patient's medical record 17 times without authorization? Then sharing them? That's grounds for investigation, suspension, possibly losing your license. Mira froze, the color draining from her face. The room felt like it was holding its breath. Dinner went on, technically, but the celebration was dead. Armin's family left early. His father muttered something about ethical concerns. Alicia was furious without knowing who to blame. Later, my mother cornered me in the kitchen, her voice breaking. Lena. I didn't know. You didn't want to know, I said softly. Mira told you what was easy to hear. Her tears fell, but I couldn't comfort her. Not this time. 3 days later, Metro Hospital suspended Mira. By Christmas, she resigned. My phone buzzed non-stop, guilt trips, apologies, curses. I answered none. Instead, I met with my cardiologist, Dr. Rahman. We may need to move you to status 1B, she said gently. Your support system matters. Who do you have? I thought of Dr. Voss calling to check on me. My co-workers adjusting schedules, neighbors bringing meals, strangers from support groups messaging to say, you're not alone. I'm building my people, I said. Winter deepened. My heartbeat worsened. Somewhere out there, a donor heart existed. A countdown I couldn't hear yet. 3 months later, at 2 a.m., my phone rang. Lena, the transplant coordinator said. We have a match. I made 3 calls. 1 to Dr. Voss. She answered instantly. 1 to my neighbor, who arrived at the hospital before I even changed into a gown. 1 to a coworker who brought a bag my family would have never thought to pack. I turned off my phone before the family group chat could explode. When I woke up 18 hours later, a new heart pulsed inside me. Steady, strong, mine. The first face I saw was Dr. Voss. Behind her stood the people who truly showed up, not with skepticism or control or denial, but with presence. My mother appeared 2 days later, trembling, crying that I let her in, but Mira's number stayed blocked. Some losses are necessary for survival, and sometimes, the family you choose beats for you harder than the one you're born into.